Okay, we've reached the golden hour here on USFDons.com, and we're joined once again by USF men's basketball head coach Todd Golden. Coach, appreciate you joining us today.
Hey, it's good to see you, Vinny. How are you?
Doing well. How are you doing?
I'm great. Just enjoying these last couple of days of July, and looking forward to the start of the year.
I know. Same here. Same here. For those of you watching, don't forget, this is our 7th episode. So if this is your first time joining us, head to the USF Dons Athletics YouTube page and go ahead and check the others out. We've covered a lot of stuff. Coach, in looking at this year, and especially the last 5 months since the season ending, a lot has happened. One of the big changes that you've made is acting as a co-founder of the Coaches Coalition for Progress, which, by the way, viewers can follow on Twitter at CCF Progress. Now, Coach, let's start pretty simply here. Give me the elevator pitch. What is the CCFP?
Yeah, it's it was something that myself and Coach Vinnie McGee kind of started the conversation with to build up, and the short and sweet version of it simply is we want to, first of all, we want to bring people together. We want to unite people in a time that we feel like there's a lot of division out there, specifically with everything going on politically. And, I feel like people they feel like they have to choose sides. And for us, as coaches, as leaders of young men, we want to really bring people together. So uniting people is a big part of it, as well as, providing opportunities, leveling the playing field, so to speak, for some youths that are growing up in underserved communities. And we're trying to, it's been a work in progress, this thing up, but, those are kind of the two fundamental foundations of the coalition and kind of what we're trying to do with everything that we're working on.
Oh, that's fantastic. Can you tell us a little bit more about the story of how it came to be?
Yeah, absolutely. So, obviously with everything going on, first we have the COVID-19 pandemic, which, hit as soon as our season was coming down to the wire, and it took away our opportunity to play in the NIT. And that was really tough for a lot of the guys in our program to swallow, especially the upperclassmen who, that kind of finished their career. And, so we were working through that. And then obviously, everything from a social standpoint got really hairy. And it started with the George Floyd murder up in, Minnesota, and just everything that was, or Minneapolis, and everything that was going on. And, it was a time where I could sense that a lot of the young men in our program were uncomfortable. And a lot of the people socially that I spend time with, or, friends of mine, were kind of in a situation where, we were just trying to figure out ways that we could support and help some of our friends that were minorities or people, in different communities. And so it got me thinking, and generally, I try to be a good husband, a good father. And in the past, I felt like keeping my side of the street clean has been enough. And to be honest, I simply realized that at this point it's not. And that's where, I engaged with Vinnie McGee, our assistant coach, and he and his fiance Bree came over. This was a couple months ago now, and had dinner with Megan and I, and we were just, talking. And, I basically floated to Vinnie, hey, I'd like to do something a little more. And it was at the time where a lot of people were putting messages or statements out on social media, and kind of like checking boxes. And to be honest, that to me, I wanted to do more than that, do something a little more impactful. Not that that's not great. I think it's really important to stand in solidarity, but at the same time, if we can move the needle outside of the social media space, then I think we're doing more. And so that's where I got with Vinnie. I said, hey, and obviously Vinnie grew up in West Oakland, and is a great story of a young man, just becoming really successful from, an underprivileged background. And asked him, I said, hey, what were some of the things that were really important to you growing up that kind of kept you on a great path in terms of being, a college graduate and being successful? And one of the things that he really mentioned was the West Oakland Boys and Girls Club. And that was an area where he and a lot of his friends growing up could go and knew they'd be safe, knew that they could go play basketball, or if they needed to print out an assignment for class, they could go to the computer lab there and use those facilities. And to me, it was like a light bulb clicked. And I said, well, hey, why don't we raise some money to ensure that, the next young man or woman growing up in that situation, whether it's in Oakland or some other underserved community, will have similar, if not better, circumstances to be successful. And it hit him too, like a ton of bricks. He's like, yeah, I think that's a great idea. Let's pass it forward. And we wanted to do it with more of a youthful spin because we wanted to be able to try to catch some of these kids in their more formative years, and we thought kindergarten to fourth grade, that age range was a good time to really kind of get involved with these young children and try to help them go the right direction. So a big part of our coalition, there's a membership fee for coaches to join, and it's only $50. And the reason why we did that was because we want NBA coaches to be a part of our coalition, but we also want JV badminton high school coaches, to be a part of it. And a big thing that we're really trying to push is, we want a lot of male and female coaches. We want, a great, making a melting pot of coaches, and we have a very heavy male membership right now, and we're working to find ways to bring female coaches into the coalition because we feel like they're just as, if not more important to the strength of this moving forward. So, we have that $50 fee because that money is going to go straight back to these underserved communities and in terms of academic and athletic equipment. And as we're able to build and hopefully moving out of this pandemic in the next, 3 to 6 months, whatever it is, and then we'll be able to go out and raise some money, as things become a little healthier out there in the communities. But, we want to give back. That's what we want to do. So in terms of that's where we built out, the academic and athletic equipment to the West Oakland Boys and Girls Club will be the first initiative. At the same time, and this is kind of the second pillar of the coalition. This is more of within our programs. And we're asking coaches to really take a pledge, so to speak, in terms of, there's 3 things that we really want them to focus on in regards to their specific teams. And that's just engaging really with community officials, public safety on campus, different police officers, because obviously, especially after the George Floyd murder, you saw a lot of what was going on in the media and going on in the news was just painting a really, really tough picture of police officers. And that was something that our coalition felt strongly about, like, hey, obviously there are some people out there that aren't perfect. And, there's obviously some cops that aren't doing it the right way. But at the same time, we believe the majority of them are doing it the right way and are protecting and serving our communities and putting their lives on the line and doing some, putting themselves in uncomfortable situations to protect and serve, the general population. And we want to highlight that. So at the same time, we want to engage with them and bring them into our teams and allow them the opportunity to speak and engage in conversation with our players who are mainly minority student athletes who, might not have had great opportunities engaging with them in the past. So if we can create that good dialogue and provide opportunities where they can have, good relationships, we think that'll make it better in more of a macro setting across the country. So that's a big push that we're making, is engaging, and then also educating our team on not only current events, things that are going on, but just past things that have happened within the United States that, we need to learn from to make sure that they don't happen again. And I think that's one of the things with everything going on. And I think it's really important that we don't rewrite history, because that's something that really guides us to make sure we don't make the same mistakes that we have in the past. And I'll give you 2 quick examples. Number one, and this, I've talked to our guys about it in the past, and being a Jewish male, it's really important to me, is talking about the Holocaust and, a situation where over 6 million Jews were, for lack of a better term, exterminated in Western Europe. And that it just didn't happen that long ago. That's something that I think is really important to think about. It was less than 80 years ago where, people were being pulled out of their homes and killed. And to a very similar type transgression, we've talked about slavery and talked about just how terrible of a concept that was. And although we've worked out of it as a nation, it's something that we can never forget, because when you forget and things go away, that's when you start, allowing the same thing to come up in the future. So we want to educate our guys, and we as a program have committed to spend about 30 minutes to an hour every week of our time with our guys of talking about some of these current events and also educating them on things in the past that we hope will continue to give them a great understanding and framework of what makes the United States, what it is, but also where areas where we can get better and improve on what's gone on in the past. And the last thing, and probably the most important thing, is just serving our community as a team. We've committed through our program to do a handful of off-campus clinics next school year, and that's something in the past we've done most everything on campus. We're going to take it off campus because we want to go out into the communities and get involved with these young men and women, and again, try to be leaders for them. Maybe when they see Jamari Bouye, Damari Milstead, or a Khalil Shabazz, doing a clinic in their backyard, whether it's in Oakland or whether it's in San Jose or whether it's in Sacramento, they can look and say, hey, that guy has, a chance to get his college degree and blaze a trail for himself and be incredibly successful regardless of where the game of basketball takes him. I want to be like that guy when I grow up, and giving them role models and people to, be like as they grow up. And again, talking about those formative years, we think if we can catch them then and explain the importance of going to school every day, the importance of doing your homework, the importance of hygiene and nutrition, we can provide, better opportunities for these young men and women to be successful as they get older.
It sounds like there are so many different pieces to this coalition, and such a broad scope, which I think is fantastic. And coming from minor league baseball, obviously community is like number one, right? And I love that piece of it. Is there another program like the CCFP out there, or is this more of a first of its kind?
There's been some other people that have put together some groups that are doing some similar things. I think a really cool thing that has just been started about a week ago, and I think it was John McClendon initiative, where a bunch of high major and different head coaches across the country have banded together to provide really like coaching mentorship program for minorities. And they've donated money to provide these opportunities, because obviously you have to pay a young man or woman who's working in these programs, but this program is specifically built to provide these opportunities for minority coaches that have had trouble maybe getting into the coaching profession because of their financial background. A lot of times as you get into coaching, you have to work in an unpaid position, and sometimes, people are unable to do that. It's really hard. And this initiative is trying to provide opportunities for young men and women who haven't been able to do that in the past. And I think that's really admirable. Coach Kyle Smith, who, we used to work for here as Washington State, I know is a member of it. Coach Few up at Gonzaga, John Calipari at Kentucky. A lot of really just great head coaches have built that out, and they're trying to, get it off the ground. And, myself, Kevin Hovde, have, donated a little bit to that as well. We obviously want to focus on the CCFP as that's our baby here. But, I think if you kind of can spread and throw in these different buckets and just, again, we're just trying to unite, provide opportunity. And again, once you give opportunity, that's the key. And people can kind of choose to do with that what they want. But that opportunity, just kind of opening that door, is really important.
So there are 6 founding members, of the CCFP. 4 of them are on your staff, including yourself. Yeah. I feel like that's not an accident.
Yeah. No, it's not. I think really with Kevin and Jonathan, they were guys, that I spent a lot of time with on a daily basis. And, I think really they enjoyed the concept. And, in that time, what was especially also for AJ Cooper, who is the best man in my wedding, who coaches football up at Washington State, and then Carlin Hartman, who we worked with at Columbia. The reason why the formation of 6 became the way it was because we were all looking for things to do. We were all kind of, all right, how can we help in a meaningful way? And then we just started brainstorming. And once Vinny and I kind of got it off the ground with Kevin and Jonathan, then I reached out to Carlin and AJ and said, hey, we'd love you guys to be a part of this, to kind of get your networks involved and see just how big we can get the spider web to grow. And AJ being a football coach and Carlin obviously being a basketball coach in the Big 12, they were super, super excited, and they've run with it in a big way. And, our membership has grown pretty strongly. We're closing in on 175 members in only a couple months. Knock on wood, we've raised over $20,000, which is really, really neat. And again, with the way we started it, my vision was simple. If we only helped one Boys and Girls Club or, one group, that was a win, because that was more than what was going on before. And, I'm knocking on wood because we have some good momentum, and I'm hopeful that we'll be able to help a couple more as we continue to grow.
No, that is incredible. And you answered my next question for me because you started with 6. I was going to ask how big it's gotten.
Yeah.
You have over 1,000 followers on social media already.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the money that you've been able to raise so far, and you talked about supporting the Boys and Girls Club with the equipment. Give me the nitty gritty. What specifically will the program help at say the West Oakland Boys and Girls Club or the one downtown San Francisco?
Sure. So it's really, again, it's just providing tangible goods, to help, in these places, because as I'm sure you're aware, a lot of these Boys and Girls Clubs run into budget issues every year, and so if they need to fix a wall or if they need to replace a hoop or whatever, they're getting stretched out very, very quickly. So our goal is to provide them with additional athletic equipment, whether it's, basketballs, footballs, gloves, whatever it may, weightlifting equipment for their weight facility at the venue, whatever it may be, to provide the athletic piece, but then also providing school supplies and academic equipment for the specific Boys and Girls Clubs. So whether it's going to be a couple laptops or computer workstations, printers, and then obviously backpacks, papers, pencils, notebooks, binders, just things that we can provide for these, young children that they can use to really give themselves the best opportunity to be successful from an academic standpoint. And as we continue to grow it, we're hoping to add different elements, whether it be tutoring and things like that. But that, in my opinion, that's a ways out. We gotta walk before we run. And so as long as we continue to build and not stretch ourselves out too thin, I think we'll be in good shape.
You mentioned anybody can join, right? Not just NCAA coaches. You want pro coaches, I'm assuming, down to JV high school coaches?
Absolutely. Yeah. That's where, again, when we built this thing out, we very purposely wanted to just make it for everybody. And honestly, the only thing that we really care about in terms of people joining is, again, just sharing our mission and the idea of wanting to unite people, bring people together, and then helping others. That's really the long and the short of it. And we've been fortunate to have people outside of coaching that really enjoy and really think what we're doing is getting on the right path. So they've helped and supported financially, which has been great. But again, like, we're coaches, I feel like us as coaches have a great opportunity in our roles to bring people together. And I think that's something that this country is missing right now, to be honest. I feel like and a big part of it's political, but you have people fighting with each other over everything, and it's just not very productive. And that's where, because of our background, playing the game of basketball, sharing, whether it was a locker room or a classroom or, a basketball floor with someone that might not look like ourselves, but we're comfortable, being around people that aren't like ourselves, because that's all we know. That's all we've known growing up playing the game of basketball. And that's why sport is so unique, because sport doesn't see color and sport is equal opportunity. And, as long as you can put the ball in the basket, or as long as you can hit a baseball, you're going to get an opportunity. And that's the way, in my opinion, that everything, in the United States should be.
Yeah. Why do you think it was important for coaches, specifically coaches, to make up a group like this?
I think it's important just because of, just our platforms, and just our assets, just everything that we have access to, whether it's, our athletic department here at the University of San Francisco, whether it's AAU basketball coaches, whether it's, high school principals and teachers. But we just have the opportunity to provide a great example, not only for our student athletes, but for other, young children coming up. And again, we're very lucky and fortunate to be able to coach the game of basketball for our profession. It's something that I have to pinch myself every day. And so why not pay it forward and give back, and just try to do everything we can to provide opportunities for others. And I think if we can do that, then we're fulfilling our responsibility, not only as a basketball coach, but as a leader of these young men.
So let's assume that everything goes as you hope it does for the coalition, right? And now let's take a look over the next, say, X period of years. So where do you want to see the coalition in 1 year?
It's something that it's a great question. And I've hesitated, kind of giving a great blueprint, simply because, our goal is to let it grow organically and kind of see where it all goes. But pie in the sky idea and picture, I'd love to partner with somebody that, could kind of come in and help us with the operational part of it and then help us fundraise a little bit. Like the Coaches versus Cancer has become incredibly successful because they partnered with the American Cancer Society, and they worked really well together. There was obviously a ton of synergies. They were able to, piggyback off each other to really support and get the word out, raise money, do all these things. So as we continue to build our blueprint and show that we have a great action plan and kind of get out of this incubator phase, I would love some organization that really appreciates what we're doing, to be able to partner with, and that way we can help each other out in some areas where we might be deficient.
Okay. So everything's perfect, right? You find the partner, you get that groundwork, right? That foundation laid. Where do you see it in 5 years?
I would, knock on wood, I'd love it to be kind of a social platform similar to the Coaches versus Cancer. That would be something that would be super, super cool. I think it'd be incredibly unique, whether we get to the point where we're hosting, CCFP basketball tournaments or CCFP fundraiser galas, where we're getting big time coaches or, just other people with platforms coming in, raising money, spreading the word, getting other people involved, and just helping out as many young people as possible, as well as educating and providing good opportunities for our student athletes to continue learning on things outside of basketball. But if we can continue to grow it that way, I'd be incredibly proud of what we were able to do.
And rightfully so. What's been your favorite accomplishment of the program so far? And this just started, it's been 3 months?
Yeah, like 2.5 months, basically. Yeah. It's obviously still in its infant stages, but just the fact that we were able to get it off the ground, I think it was one of those things where there was a time, and like I said, people were looking for things to find ways to have a positive impact. And this was something different. This was unique. This was something that we had to make a conscious decision to take on more than our normal, role and responsibility in our coaching positions. So this was, an added layer to that. And most of us have, wives and families. And so, it was kind of an extra element that way. But again, it's been great. We had a membership Zoom last week, and where over 75 members of the coalition joined, and just to see all the different people there and hear some of their stories about why they wanted to be involved. We had DeMario Sims, who is was Vinnie McGee's best friend from growing up, who is now a sheriff with the Santa Clara Police Department, come and speak. And he's a guy that we've brought into our program. And when we get our whole team back on campus, we'll have him come speak to the team as part of our engaging pillar of the platform. But just having that conversation, and I think the Zoom lasted for about an hour and a half. But just to see, to be able to look and see 75 people on the call, all with a common vision and common goal, was something that I was super proud of.
No, that sounds incredible. And it seems like the team will be a big part of this, and the coaches' teams that are part of this there will need to be some buy-in. What's the response been like from the Dom so far?
I think the guys really appreciate it, and we talked to them about it too. When it came to the serving portion, that was going to be on their shoulders as well. This is something where, to really help and to really serve, it's got to be a two-way street. You can want the action to happen, but at the same time, you have to provide the action. And I think that's a really important, piece to not only talk about it, but to do it. So, it's going to be an expectation for our guys. It might be on a Sunday to go do a clinic with, kids in Oakland, and for them understanding the importance of giving back, because the experience and what they have here at our university to be able to have a full basketball or to have a full academic scholarship to play basketball is an incredible opportunity that, millions would really want. And so now, because we have that opportunity, we want to go pay it forward and try to provide that next opportunity for the next young man or woman. That's something that I'm going to expect our guys to do and be a part of. And, they'll buy in, because that's what's important to our program, and being a good person is really a big deal. So, I think once they kind of understood where we were going and what we were trying to do, they appreciated it a lot.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. And I'm excited to see it come to fruition when we can all be back together again.
Absolutely.
So we've heard about the great platform, what you intend to do with it, where you hope to get it to go. Let's talk right now. What can the average person, a non-coach, right, do to help?
Yeah, I think if just we built our website out. I think just share it again. It's just coachescoalitionforprogress.org. Go check it out and kind of look at it. We have our action plan on there. We have a way for people to join. And again, you don't need to be a coach to join. You just need to be a good person. That's really someone who wants to help and unite. Those are really the core requirements. We have some different news articles that have been written about what we're doing. And again, most importantly, and part of our grassroots marketing, so to speak, is just spreading the word, not just sharing it with people saying, hey, some of the coaches at the University of San Francisco are doing something pretty unique. And, I think you might be interested in it and sharing the website with others. And again, every dollar that goes to our coalition is going to be put right back into the community, mostly underserved communities, and it'll be really valuable. So, just being a part of that, spreading the word, and, joining if you see fit would be fantastic.
So that brings me to my next question. If I'm a coach or one of the non-coaches that would like to join, how do I do it?
Yeah, it's, go to the website and there's a join toolbar or option to click. And then, we give you the option to sign up. And then there's another option if you feel like you want to give more than $50 to donate, you're able to do that as well. Obviously, once you do that, we'll get a notification, and then we reach right back out to you with some of basically a newsletter or something to kind of let you know where we're at right now and what we're working on.
It sounds great. I mean, what kind of network does it have right now? You said Big 12, you got the football side. Obviously, the people on your staff are very connected just in the basketball tree. What does it look like?
Yeah, like I said, it's something we really wanted to grow it organically, because the biggest thing was we wanted people who really wanted to be a part of it, not just people who wanted to check a box and say, all right, yeah, I'm in. Okay, now I'm moving on to the next thing. So we didn't call a bunch of people, asking them to be a part of it. That we said, hey, if somebody asked what we're doing, this is what's going on. If you want to learn more, let us know. And we wanted people to be actively engaged to do it. So we're based, across the United States. We're pretty strong. We have people in different pockets, whether it's West Coast or East Coast. And, as we have a big football contingent now as well from AJ's being a part of it. And, once things calm down from a pandemic standpoint, I'm going to be a little more aggressive about going after some of the big fish coaches, across the country, and see if we can get them to be a part of it.
Well, viewers can follow the Coaches Coalition for Progress on Twitter, the @CCF Progress. Again, that's @CCF Progress. Todd, you just mentioned the website a minute ago. That is coachescoalitionforprogress.org. Coach, I'd like to give you, we've talked pretty in depth about this so far. I'd also like to just give you an open floor. Any plugs you would like to give the coalition? What more should we know about it?
Yeah, no, I think, the most importantly, the founding members have done a great job. I've been getting a lot of credit for this because of the initial idea, and Vinnie deserves a lot of credit for that too, Vinnie McGee. But just the job that Carlin and AJ and Kevin and Jonathan have done from an operational standpoint. We're meeting every week, just, spitballing new ideas, just trying to come up with different, new material to share with our teams and the community. And again, this is just, it's something that I've been really proud to be a part of, because I feel like we're doing something that's productive. And, we're going to continue to do it and see kind of just how big we can grow it. But again, let it happen organically and not try to rush. And this is something that we don't want it to be a flash in the pan. We want to look back at this thing in 10 years and say, hey, we did this the right way, and now we're really helping people. So I appreciate you highlighting it today. And, if people want to learn more, just let us know on the website, and we'll get information to you as soon as we can.
And once again, that website is coachescoalitionforprogress.org. Well, Coach, that's what I have for you this week. Thanks so much for your time, and we'll catch you next time.
Awesome, Vinny. I appreciate you, my man. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, you too. This has been the Golden Hour with USF men's basketball head coach Todd Golden. For Coach Golden, I'm Vinnie Longo. Once again, they're on Twitter @CCF Progress, website coachescoalitionforprogress.org. Thanks so much for joining us. Watch again next time, and until then, head to the USF Athletics YouTube channel. In the meantime, stay safe, stay well, and go Dons.